The breakup. Fuck your piece of shit fandom.
I told you not to touch it. I told you not to touch it. I told you not to touch it. You broke it. I told you not to touch it. I told you not to touch it. I told you not to touch it. You broke it. I told you not to touch it.
No, I don't. I got theater history, and I could not tell you anything important about theater history.
You know stuff about kabuki, which is all I'm interested in. Tell me more about kabuki theater.
It's not no.
Well, it's not crap, you mean.
Yes. Well, okay.
That official stance of the podcast.
Yeah, no theater's not great. I guess we're starting.
No is kind of shit.
Sorry.
No, I think we're starting on that.
Sorry, Japan.
We're starting on. I think this is going to be a really good podcast. I think this is going to be a really good podcast.
That's a rarity. You usually are not the excited one.
No, I'm ready.
Oh, that means you didn't like it.
Welcome to the breakup.
Yep.
I'm your host, Jacob, and I'm here with your co-host, Sam Young.
Hello.
And we are here to
destroy the things you love
by giving them away.
That's the catchphrase.
It's always the first line I forget. Destroy the things we love by giving them away. We're podcasting early in the morning of almost 3 p.m. So if
bleary morning of 3 p.m.
Yeah, if those listening are bewildered by our
You know what, get some coffee, wake yourself up before you listen to this one.
Do you drink coffee?
No.
And neither do I.
We're already exposing our hypocrisies. That makes terrible audio, I'll have you know.
Delicious.
All right. Try to remember my arbitrary ordering. Was it
No,
you?
it's you. It's you
It is
next.
me this first?
Yeah.
Okay.
I remembered it because I'm excited.
Ah, okay. So Jacob, what did you make
I
me?
made you play cult sensation video game 8-bit masterpiece. No, 16-bit masterpiece. Hotline Miami. Sam, describe this game as best as you can.
How can one describe a rose? Hotline Miami.
Like a billion ways. That's the thing about roses, Sam.
It was a rhetorical statement, you piece of shit. Hotline Miami is a top-down video game shooter where you hurt people a lot. Yes. It's basically a puzzle game where you have to kill all the enemies on the screen without yourself getting killed. I mean, I don't really want to go into the nitty-gritty details of the mechanics of it because you can kind of you can get that from there.
You can imagine.
Between this,
you go into buildings and things and you hurt a lot of people.
And you get a very fragmented story from a bunch of people in masks. And then, I mean, this is, if you think I'm being vague, I'm not.
Well, how far did you get?
I got all the way to the end. And I got to both endings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So
there are two endings in this game.
You really did it.
Because you switch characters all halfway, or not halfway through, like about
last quarter.
3/4. Yeah,
last quarter.
But the last part, like only 2 of them are real levels. There are bonus levels I discovered too, but I did not go through those. So, before I reveal my thoughts about Hotline Miami, what do you think of Hotline Miami?
What do I think of Hotline Miami?
Yes.
As I said to you, I think when I suggest this to me is the best written game I've encountered in a long time. And I mean that.
Yeah. Jacob's being sincere, people.
And I mean that in the particular sense of how video games are capable of, and kind of must, write stories significantly differently than a novel or a book or even a movie. And there is a particular relationship with narrative that Hotline Miami has that you may not have encountered. And that is perfectly fine, because if you did, I would have called you a crazy person. And because the only reason I know about it is looking into it very deeply.
Well, I did look up some stuff afterwards, as is my want.
So what did you think? What did you feel about it?
I have complicated feelings about this game.
I imagine you do. Let's break it down for me.
All right. So gameplay-wise, I have never been so profoundly frustrated by a video game, and the only reason I didn't just stop was because I had to do it for the podcast. Because
You were on pins and... You're so distracted and consumed by the pins and needles of this, aren't you?
This was me playing Hotline Miami. Fuck.
A big component of this is your facial expression, which is like a rictus attempt at normal. Like every muscle in your face is clenched.
It's interesting because it ties into something about me. I'm sorry, I'm bumping the table. My rage trigger is when electronics don't work. So when like iTunes fucks me over, or when I'm just trying to hook up the internet and it's not working for no apparent reason, that's when I go berserk. And for the most part, I'm a pretty calm, collected person. Yeah. So that very profoundly got in under my skin because the game is unforgiving in the utmost extreme.
Well, the other trick, and I probably, if I was a nicer person, I would have just said, use the shotgun.
Well, yeah,
use the shotgun.
When I had the shotgun, I used the shotgun.
Oh, and then throw the shotgun.
Yeah.
And then beat them down.
God,
and then take a new shotgun.
I threw so many guns at people.
You got to John Wick your way to success.
Yeah, you really do. When I play games like this, I go for the stealth kind of mode. And
you do not get to sneak.
Sometimes you do. Sometimes there are ones where it encourages you to do
in
that.
a particular level called the hospital.
Yeah.
Where it is a forced stealth level.
But I like to set up shots. I like to snipe, that kind of thing. So, and the game was just like, no. And because I'd be like, okay, I'm going to get the last guy. I'm going to get the last guy. Bang! Oh, I'm dead. And I have to do everything over again.
Yeah, you do.
So, okay, on the gameplay front, I've never been so frustrated in my goddamn life.
So this is sounding like a negative so far.
That was my... I prefaced it by saying that I can't call it bad, and I didn't...
But you're frustrated by it.
And I didn't hate that. Because sometimes solving those puzzles was immensely satisfying.
Yeah.
So, from the story perspective, I was intrigued all the way through. Because you get thrown into... So, between every 4 or so levels, you get thrown into this sort of liminal space where these 3 masked people who give you these cryptic lines about, like, do you like to hurt people? And, you know, who do you think you are? And things like that. And the atmosphere of it and the mystery that it's building up are really...
Well, here's a question. Who are they talking to?
Well, yeah, that's kind of where I was getting at. Because at first you think this is about the protagonist's identity in some way. But eventually you realize that they're talking to you, I think. And they're questioning why you're playing a game like this where you murder everyone. So I think my problem is I'm not as interested in meta stories. Or rather, okay, the one I really liked was...
That is so fucking ironic.
Well, I was about to say, I like... I know, it's funny that I should say that. Well, let me explain what I mean.
This isn't going to spill over. You can't control me, Sam.
Let me explain what I mean. Because I was just... I really liked it in Undertale. I always forget the title. Yeah. I liked how the way it confronts you about that. I didn't like it so much in this. I don't think the confrontation was as interesting about why you're doing what you're doing. Because in Undertale, you have the choice not to do it.
This is the interesting thing. I have the reverse opinion. I think Undertale is significantly worse.
Oh, because I think it's more interesting that Undertale gives you the option not to do it. Whereas in this, I felt like, well, my friend is forcing me to play this, and I can't stop killing these people.
I don't know. Do you have more opinions? Because I've got a lot of conversation.
Well, I was going to say, it's not so much that I don't like meta things. It's I don't like... I'm not as interested in confrontation with the audience stories.
You have no right to say that. But here's the thing. This requires some author knowledge.
Yeah.
But in interviews... The movie they compare Hotline Miami to the most, you would think it'd be a Grindhouse something, right? No, it's RoboCop.
Yeah, it's absolutely RoboCop.
Well, but the reasoning isn't what you think it is. Okay. It's not the violence.
It's the satire.
Well, it's the many layers
of satire
of RoboCop.
Yeah.
One of those layers is satire, but there are lots of others.
Yeah.
The thing about Hotline Miami is that there are 3 interpretations. Okay. There is sort of going to those cryptic conversations. Yeah. There's they're talking to this person and their identity. Mm-hmm. There's they're talking to you, the player, and asking you, well, why are you playing this awful game if you're doing this? But then there's interpretation 3, where they're talking to the character and you.
Oh, okay.
The idea being that we've accepted that we're playing this game. And the game actually isn't critical of you playing this game.
Oh, okay.
It's critical of making sure you're asking why. It's not judging you. It's asking you to ask that question to yourself.
Well, my answer is if I don't play it, my friend will make me watch some wretched anime that I don't want to ever see.
No, I wouldn't do that to you.
You've already told me that's what you're going to do to me.
Oh, no. I'm not telling you what it actually is. And so the thing about your interpretation is that you're kind of glossing over the ending where it kind of...
I was getting to that. So the ending... So you switch characters to a guy you actually murder at a certain point, and then he murders you, which is... So I thought that was kind of cool, that no one is a reliable narrator. You go to this final level where you meet these like guys who are in a sewer, and they're like telephone operators.
And you've seen them throughout the game.
Yeah, you keep running into them. My thing was there's a puzzle that you're supposed to solve, and you're collecting letters. I only found like one.
Yeah,
the very last letter.
It is fucking impossible.
Yeah.
And if you had somehow done it, I would have just been like, you're a crazy person.
No, yeah.
I have never tried it.
No, and because I like a big letter B popped up on my screen. I was like, is it grading me?
You get grades at the end.
You do, but I thought it was like early grading me.
Extra grades.
So the ending I got, which is not the canonical ending, I guess, is that they kind of like mock you.
This game, don't think about canon.
Yeah, don't think about canon.
Never. Like, there's a sequel, unfortunately.
I mean, it's interesting because there is a really like quite elaborate conspiracy going on.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to defeat the Soviet Union, or no, they're trying to defeat a Soviet American alliance or something like that.
Well, okay. The sequel sort of explains this, but this is set in 80s Miami, but it's set in an 80s Miami where the Soviet Union won the Cold War.
Oh, okay.
So that's why they're talking about Soviets all the time.
Yeah.
And why you go after the Russian mafia.
Right.
Is that the Soviets are in a much better position than the US. And I will not make you play the sequel, but ultimately, this all ends in nuclear war.
Yeah.
That's
not surprising.
A nuclear holocaust goes on, and that's the end of the second game. But there is a show called Errant Signal that's on YouTube. And Errant Signal does a video about this movie that I don't like their interpretation particularly.
Okay.
But the interpretation they would come to is much how sort of you read it, where it's a metatextual... They're discussing why people play violent video games and da-da-da-da-da.
I mean, the first question it asks is, do you like to hurt people?
Yeah, but that question has a lot of judgment statements to it. When the game,
it's a loaded question.
Yeah, whereas the game is not actually giving it in a loaded sense.
Yeah.
It's just, do you?
Yeah.
Is that why you're doing this?
See, I feel like there's a lot of ways you could read it, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at, is with Hotline Miami.
Yeah.
And what they were talking about, you can come to like 5 or 4 different conclusions about this game, and they're all right.
I think I can say that like the story elements frustrated me, but in a good way. I think it left me feeling a little cold though, because I felt like I was missing a lot of it, because you really have to engage with the game.
The awkward thing about this is that the first game was basically a proof of concept for the second.
Yeah.
So they were just like, oh.
Yeah.
And the problem is with Errant Signal, they love that it's so barren and stupid.
Yeah.
And
it is a very minimalist game.
Oh, yeah. They love the minimalism.
But I will give, it does a lot with that minimalism.
But the canon ending, quote unquote, is that there's this huge conspiracy that you had signed up for without your sort of, or before this narrative had started, that you had signed up to kill Russians.
Yeah. Because you turns out you fought in a war or something.
So I would say, now who is the violence serving?
Yeah.
Which is what those questions were about.
Yeah.
It wasn't about you. It wasn't about the character. It was about why is this violence happening? And do either you or the character have the answer to that, which is no. So who does?
Yeah.
And I don't think Undertale ever approaches that.
Interesting. And I found Undertale a far more enjoyable experience. And I don't dislike Hotline Miami. I'm actually kind of glad it exists, but I think it's not for me. I will say, aesthetically, I really liked it.
Oh, yeah.
Because despite my loathing of Ready Player One, I'm super into the 80s throwback stuff. Like, I think the music was a lot of fun. I thought the design was interesting. I wasn't a huge fan of the character design when you see their faces. I didn't love that, but I thought it fit with what it was doing. Yeah, so it was a game that left me very intrigued, but it never really gave me any solutions.
Well, the problem...
And I think that's the point.
Yeah, and basically, this is why I rate it higher than Undertale's. That Undertale is happy to give you the solution.
Yeah.
Whereas I think there are a lot of problems in life where you have to make the solution.
That final boss is one of the hardest things.
Oh, fuck that.
I'm gonna admit it. I cheated. I had to look it up because I could not beat that.
I didn't look it up. I did it like the hard way, and I was just like, never
taken
again.
me forever.
Oh no!
I only got one piece of it, how you're supposed to do it, and then
I think it literally took me 2 days straight.
Yeah,
to beat that.
It would have. We never would have recorded this episode.
Well, I had said to you, their game will quote unquote significantly change, which I'm at the hospital level. You can stop then. Yeah. But you were a good boy.
No, I had to go on.
You were a good boy.
Because I was interested in what was happening. Like, I wanted to know more. I did try, like, there's some bonus levels, and I kind of tried to try one of those, and I was like, yeah, I'm kind of done with this.
Yeah, the thing with 2 is that 2 gives the first game a lot more sense.
Yeah.
But, and it goes along my theory a lot more.
Yeah.
Than, say, the like metatextual theory.
Yeah.
It is talking a lot more about the military-industrial complex and media and things like that. So it's like, okay, obviously you were meaning that thing rather than this. Yeah. But the point of video games, I think, is there should not be one set ending.
Yeah.
I'm taking the opposite of the Roger Ebert approach.
Oh. Elucidate the
that there has to be like a single narrative and the ending to do that. I think that you can have a loose ending.
Yeah.
And then from there, you can let a person come to many conclusions that go from play style to like force things.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot more relationships going on. Mm-hmm. That means you can safely have more than one ending.
Welcome to Jacob Waskow's Video Game Manifesto.
I'm sorry. This is just the one time
where we discuss Jacob Waskow's Video Game Manifesto.
Fuck off. Do we want to talk about your thing now?
Yeah, I think we're good. So yeah, ultimately, Hotline Miami, I'm ambivalent. I am ambivalent about it because I like it enough.
So 2 thumbs halfway up?
Yeah, 2 thumbs halfway up. 2 thumbs halfway up.
That's a new score.
That's a new score. You know, did you know that the thumbs up thing are actually like, it's like a copyrighted thing?
Oh my god.
Yeah. Or they had a trademark. I don't know if it still applies anymore, but...
Fuck them.
Yeah, they're both dead.
Yeah.
Sam,
so,
yes.
What did you make me read/listen to?
I made you read. This was your own choice. I made Jacob read Redshirts by John Scalzi. Jacob, tell us about Redshirts.
Redshirts is a book about a Star Trek-esque ship that is going through a magical space adventures that aren't magical, like science fiction space adventures. And a lot of people die in these magical space adventures, and some characters just manage to weirdly stay alive for long periods of time. But soon enough, people discover that this is a weird part of this universe that...
Or at least as relates to the ship.
As relates to the ship specifically, that a lot of people die and a lot of people survive weirdly crippling shit. And so they discover that this ship is deeply similar to another, like a very ancient Earth television show called Star Trek, the original series.
Yes.
I don't remember.
No, that's TNG. Anyway,
so they decide after basically on another adventure, the main crew had gone back in time, so they were like, "Hey, let's do that again, but we have to bring a main character with us
because the concept of time travel makes no sense."
Yeah.
So yeah,
because otherwise it would.
We'll go into why that. We'll go.
Blah 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 blah. And they go to real day Earth and smack around their writers a bit. They're like, "Hey, you should stop trying to kill us." And the writers are like, "Holy crap, you're alive!" And they're like, yeah.
And you're murdering us.
You're murdering us. And they go, oh, shit. And so they save a guy's life, and then they go back in their spaceship. And then there are 3 little extra stories at the end where a guy talks about how he gets writer's block.
Because of this thing.
Because of these misadventures. The person who survived magically because of the intervention of this, and a person who got, there's a whole sub-story thing, it's not really that important. She meets her alternate husband.
Yeah.
After her alternate self died.
Yeah.
And then she meets her alternate husband's actor. Mm-hmm. And they're like, hey, maybe they're going to hook up. Because that's how fate works. Sam, why do you like this piece of shit?
That's the question.
It's metatextual.
It is
really metatextual. It
is very metatextual.
But it's the wankiest piece of shit metatextual. But go on. Tell me why you like this.
Okay. I think it's both an excellent deconstruction of Star Trek, and it's a very good episode of Star Trek. I think that... Oh, this is going to be a fun one. I like that the beginning of this was a very, let's have a really intellectual discussion about video games, and the second is this, let's shit on this book.
Sam.
But let me tell you why I like it.
No. I'm prefacing it with this.
Okay.
I finished this at 4 a.m.
I know.
It actually took me to stop myself to just open your bedroom door and punch you in the face. I was livid at the end of this.
Oh, this is interesting. Okay.
All right. Tell me why you like this.
Okay. I think for the simple aspects, I think the characters are quite fun and well thought out. I think
you are free to think that.
Oh, I didn't expect this. I didn't expect pure hatred. Well, let's.
You are free to think this. Go along, my friend.
I like the way that they use the actors being the real people, and the thing about So one of the producers. They go back in time to our reality, and they save the life of one of the producer's sons, who is accidentally, he was in a motorcycle accident. And so they're using they manipulate the way that the show logic works to save his life by bringing him back to, or his body back to the future time, whatever, alternate dimension. And I thought that when the coda of that is very interesting and profound to me.
Yes, that coda is pretty good. It's goodish. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah,
so intrigued by this. You know what? I just generally liked it. It was fun. It was funny. Yeah, that's it.
So
okay, let's hear this.
You like this coda? Mm-hmm. This is the second coda of 3.
Yes.
So it follows.
Yes.
A coda about a writer on this television show who had encountered his characters. They're real. Oh my god!
Yeah.
And he gets the worst case of writer's block ever.
Yes, he does.
And he goes to the internet to get help.
Yeah.
And eventually gets tracked down by Susan Sarandon or whatever.
some other author.
I think it was Susan Sarandon.
It's not Susan Sarandon.
God damn it! No, I thought it was an actor.
No, she's another author.
Oh.
She's
It's an S something.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, it's not that it's whatever, it's wrong. It's that you're a shitty writer. Mm-hmm. No, I don't believe that. I'm a shitty writer at all. You're wrong, Susan Sarandon. And then he storms out in a huff, writing this like a TV script, by the way.
Yeah.
And then eventually, he has a dream sequence.
Yes, he does.
Where all the characters he killed in this show come back to tell him that he was a bad writer all along, and that he needs to get his gear together and write interesting stories that don't involve people dying. And then I felt this wet spot on my face as I realized someone had just come right on my cheek as the wank fest finally completed, and I got the money shot all over me. This was the most piece of drivel self-interest crap you had forced me to read, Sam.
The whole book or just the coda?
Just that coda.
Oh, okay.
But it spoiled the... Oh,
really?
Oh, it was awful. I could go on. It was garbage.
I'll defend that ever so slightly.
Because you like stories about how the author themselves
No, that's not at all what it was.
What is it? Tell me. Tell me.
Okay, if this is the last episode, you know where Jacob
No,
is. He lives
it's not.
with me.
I'm getting you back for this, you son of a bitch.
I mean, you'll murder me right now.
No, I will do
I
so
see.
much worse to you.
Vengeance. Okay.
Yes.
So it's not so much that he's talking about don't kill people. He's saying about, like, you should make deaths interesting.
Yes. That will...
It should matter.
yeah, it should matter. But the
Also,
point still,
I
the point
think
still
he's
is...
very unsympathetic towards that writer character.
that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's still stupid.
What did you find stupid about it?
The problem I have with it is that it is ultimately an essay on how to be a good writer, disguised in a very bad and dumb, not quite first-person narrative. That it's like a log and what have you.
Yeah.
And you know what this could have been? A 2-paragraph blog post. And guess what he was doing? Making blog posts in the story.
But he's
okay. It's so cutesy.
As far as the story
goes. It's the written equivalent of Oscar bait, Sam, and you're defending it. What the fuck is wrong with you? You used to be my friend.
This is not the one that I thought would throw you off. That's so... I found... Yeah.
What'd you think it was going to be?
I will say that's my least favorite of the 3 codas, but it's... That's so interesting.
Well, the rest of the actual story
but
itself...
I think from the story perspective, he's like, if your characters literally came alive, wouldn't you have an existential crisis?
I wouldn't have one that was just them being like, oh, you need to be a better writer,
Well, the
bucko.
joke is he's kind of a hack. The idea is that they're not saying that you can't kill people because that, then life would end. Like, that's
life
not
and,
good.
Yeah, no, they have this big fucking speech about, oh, life's gonna end someday. You gotta make lives matter. You're the general, and you gotta make it go on.
I did like the bit where the guy is like, well, we're not mad at you. I'm mad. Everyone but Davis is not mad at you.
Can we talk about the rest of the story?
Yeah, let's talk about the rest.
The rest of the story was also hot garbage, except for those last 2 codas, which were... okay, too good.
Okay.
I like the last coda. That one.
Well, I'm kind of glad that I got you to read those then, because I think the last one is probably the best one.
The story itself is a Star Trek episode, basically.
Yeah.
Like, there's like this stupid metatextual shit that I don't think works.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, all right, but otherwise, it's a Star Trek episode. But I don't like Star Trek.
Yeah.
This book does nothing to make me like Star Trek more. It's all the problem is I know I should like Star Trek. I know this is a thing I should like.
So you're the crazy
objectively. But this is a lot of the negative qualities of Star Trek in one fucking thing.
Well, talk it out.
The ultimate point of the book isn't that interesting. There isn't some metaphysical or meta-human discussion going on here. There's nothing about the nature of humanity. There's nothing really about how we communicate. There's no big, meaty topics being approached in a way that's subversive, which is what Star Trek does that's good. And what sci-fi does that's good, is holding up a mirror and going, yeah, we need to talk about this. This entire fucking book is about, hey, writing's crazy, right? Here's a creative exercise about why creativity's kind of bonkers. It's so fucking dumb. So many people have done better than this. This is just wank material about a Star Trek fanfiction that went out of control.
That's interesting.
I'm spitting with rage.
You are spitting with rage.
Oh, fuck.
Wow. I didn't know you didn't like...
the story itself.
I wouldn't have made you read it if I knew that your trigger point was like books about writing.
I think books about writing that are good exist.
But you
the
don't
ones
know what
I've
they
encountered, especially this one, are pretty shit.
Yeah.
Because the thing about writing they have to say is shallow. There's no good, like, what they're saying, anyone could fucking come up with.
Yeah.
This is child's play.
What do you think is the thesis of this book?
The thesis of the book is that any creative experience involves an idea of, well, what if this was actually happening? What if I'm the destiny here?
Yeah.
You know what did this better, Sam?
Is
you know
Hotline
what?
Miami?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's .hack sign. Eat my shit forever.
There you go. It's funny because I feel like there was a real shared theme this week about that. Anyway, okay.
But it has to start with a K.
It does have to start. Well, are you finished ranting about Redshirts?
What time, Sam?
We've done about 30 minutes of the show.
That felt longer. Yeah, fuck it. What's our shared theme? Oh, right. Final thing. If you're a Star Trek fan and you're a prick like Sam, thumb and a half up.
Oh, okay.
If you so far have liked Sam's choices,
yes,
you will like this book. I know you will. If you're a real human being, no. I mean, if you're like me and you're kind of tired of the same things being talked about over and over again in increasingly degrading quality, half thumb up. Like
what? Okay, shut up. Half thumb up after you yelled at me for 30 minutes. Sorry, 20 minutes. That's what it gets? You're not even going to give it like 2 billion thumbs down? I am insulted, Jacob. I expected more out of you.
Well, what do you want me to do? Throw the entire book out? Okay, asshole, you want to? Fine. Dick down. Dick down.
Dick down. Quick side. So I blame Wil Wheaton for some of this.
Yeah,
explain your fault. Explain your mistake.
I swear to you, if I had just read this book, I wouldn't have been so venomously angry. It still would have been a piece of shit book to me.
Yeah. I think you might have got it more. I think you chose.
Wil Wheaton should quit voice acting.
So Jacob, instead of getting the ebook like I did,
like a sane person,
Jacob
I was trying to get a physical book. I tried. Chapters was out.
You don't need a physical book. You just get it on your iPad or something. Well, anyway, Jacob got the audiobook performed by Wil Wheaton, and I told him when he told me this was a mistake, and that it would not enhance his experience.
You're trying to save this book from its shitty faults by blaming Wil Wheaton.
I think you wouldn't. I think you're right. This is not the book for you, but I think you probably wouldn't have hated it as much.
No. Don't do this. Don't deflect from my point. This is a shit book.
I think Van is important.
Wil Wheaton added to the shit.
Yeah.
Wil Wheaton is a garbage person with a garbage voice.
I think he's a perfectly nice person. I don't really care for what he attaches his name to.
Like shitty books, like The Discovery or whatever the fuck the book's called. Redshirts.
Well, you know what else he read? Ready Player One.
Well, fuck.
You know what's interesting, though? I think we finally hit upon, like, a moment where, despite the fact that the podcast is about taste, we don't talk that much about, like...
Taste.
Yeah. Well, but you put it really well, is that, like, if you like Redshirts, you're probably good... Or if you like what I like, Sam likes, you're probably going to like it. For you, it's like, yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah to bad.
Okay, so the reason why I'm giving it half a thumb up is I cannot stand self-righteousness executed poorly. That to me is like, this is writing sin. This is like, no writer should be doing this, and if you're discovered of it, you should be slapped. Because you are allowed to be self-righteous when it's about a flawed position, or it's about an idea that's so big and stupid that no one can really get about this. This is about the writing process. There's a trillion...
It's funny. I mean, yeah, it is about narratives, but I actually don't think it's that much about writing. I think the premise is a little more like... It's less deep than that, I guess. I mean, this is how I read into it, so you're definitely free to read into it however you want.
I'm not saying that it's deep. Deep implies that it's successful at what it's trying to do.
No, I think deep can be bad.
I think what this is... Hey... The relationship between creativity and the creator. Crazy, right?
That's... Okay, so let's get to the common theme then. Yeah. Because I think Hotline Miami is kind of about the same thing. Like, it's about what are the consequences of doing this make-believe thing. And that's what Redshirts is about.
But it's about the real consequences of make-believe. I would argue... It's about violence in video games.
Okay.
And it's about, here are a bunch of positions at once.
And I would say that Redshirts is about the way that science fiction, not just Star Trek, makes, like, body counts not matter. And I mean, obviously, the idea of a Redshirt's not the book, but, like, the idea of a red shirt...
So if you're already invested in that problem, Sam, then wow.
Well, no, I was going to say...
Great book. No, but... 2 thumbs up from Samwise Gamgee over here.
I wasn't really into that. It was funny. I thought it was more like the fun comedy that you would apply to, not so much the message of the book. See, I thought...
Why are we here?
See, it's interesting is because I thought that the codas kind of were the profound part, whereas the book itself was just sort of like, oh, this is kind of fun and funny. Or more than that, I enjoyed it a lot. Let me ask you this. Why was the last one the one you liked the most?
How the fuck am I going to talk about shit about being a widower or like almost widow?
Oh, so it's
with
can't touch it.
With both of my parents dead. Who am I to be like, yeah, this poor husband, fuck him. The one sane man in a crazy world. Isn't this guy fucking cuckoo bananas? It doesn't fucking matter about anything.
Wow.
Like, it's the one idea about, like, what if your wife or husband exists again?
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Mm-hmm. That works in this premise. And that's a deep intro. And that's like, you can have serious conversations about that in a silly way.
Yeah.
That's not done to death yet.
Interesting.
That, like, well, okay, not done to death yet. More like, you can put a spin on that with all the premise you've done so far. Sorry,
we've digressed from the common theme thing. But I was going to say, the idea of a red shirt in science fiction, it's been done to death. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Like, this is not terribly profound. But I think that the two of them share a theme in, like, what are the consequences of pretend violence?
Yeah,
so,
okay.
What is our common theme? It's going to be a tough one.
I'm sorry, I've got my adrenaline going. I'm trying to calm down. This is the most animated I've been in like a year.
I've never known you to be this animated.
Is my face
Is your arm tingling? You okay?
No, it's more like the upper arm.
Mm-hmm. See, the show has drama.
God, fuck. I feel like there's going to be a whole subsection on our website of Jacob swearing.
Jacob swearing, yeah.
Where Jacob has a really bad potty mouth. Here are all the swears that he uses consistently and the ones he's made up.
Fuck. What K words?
Klingons.
Klingons. See, we can be friends still. Jesus. For the first time ever, I have to change what I'm going to make you do.
Oh my god, really? Did I make you...
I can't do maybe one day, but not after this one.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I think we both deserve to be punished.
I think you're right. Yeah. This is nuclear war, you know.
Oh.
I'm just warning you right now.
Okay. Good. You go first.
Okay.
Because I have two options for you. What is it?
Jacob Waskow, you will watch, as I did, the entire miniseries of Stephen King's The Tommyknockers.
Oh, okay. May
God have mercy on your soul.
Fine. That is so much easier than I thought it was going to be. You're on.
Go on.
Sam, we've taken a hiatus from anime.
Yes.
You and I.
Yes, we have.
You are going to play the internet sensation Doki Doki Literature Club.
Okay.
Get ready, buddy. You're gonna love some girls. You're gonna get into some love interests. Because you know what's our favorite genre?
Oh no!
Visual novels. We'd like to thank
Irritating Rainbow for a theme song. You broke it. Where'd the truck go? iTunes. Fuck off. I think you're right. That was.
Oh shit! I got Tommyknockers mixed up.
What did you think?
I thought it was about the people eating time. No, it's the fucking Tommyknockers. Tommy. All right. Oh wait, hold on. We have a sobriety rule, don't we?
No, we can drink as much as you want.
Yes. Oh yeah, because all rules are off for punishment.
All rules are off for punishment. We're gonna die.
Oh, Sam. You're going to think different things about me as a human being after this.
Do we want to make this more interesting?
What the fuck are you going to suggest?
Okay, I had to, because I was stupid, watch all of the Tommyknockers in one sitting.
Oh, no. Yes.
Do it.
That's a good idea.
Do it. Do it. Do it.
Fuck. Hey, you need to ask Jacob final thoughts.
Final thought, Jacob.
Fuck. No, I was just so mad after listening. Like, I had to bite my cheek to get myself to listen to the rest of it because I was like,
You shouldn't have done the audiobook.
No, Wil Wheaton showed me the truth.